Thank you for staying with us here at iBrand Daybreak. We're moving to the major conversation for this morning. Insecurity and kidnapping are now closer to home, impacting even once secure neighborhoods. We celebrate the release of some, but mourn the loss of others. The high cost of living with skyrocketing food prices affects every citizen, and Nigerians are calling for swift relief policies from the federal government to ease the financial strain. The CBN grapples with currency instability, and the suspension of ministers awaits prosecution as investigations unfold. Fuel prices continue to rise, prompting questions about the achievement of the APC's government since its inauguration 8 months ago. Today on the show, we will have critical conversations on the pressing issues shaping our nation as we explore these topics. And of course, to discuss President Tinubu's policies and achievements and shed light on the nation's economic challenges. To have this conversation with us is Bartholomew Chiboke. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, I have listed a lot of things which, of course, remain the current realities that we face in Nigeria. Before we delve into the conversation proper, we'd like to get your assessment of the current situation in Nigeria.
My assessment is your assessment as well as every other Nigerian's assessment. Because you just mentioned one thing, insecurity. Nobody can run away from insecurity. Anyone that lives in Nigeria, even though you're not living in Nigeria, you have your relatives here in Nigeria, is biting hard on everyone. So insecurity is everywhere. It's not my assessment, it's Nigerians' assessment, it's everyone's assessment. Even those in the government cannot run away from it because in Abuja it's right there with them now. Okay, so the assessment is that insecurity is here. Insecurity is everywhere. So the government must rise up now and do something, or else everybody will have to pay the price.
On several occasions, we've had spokespersons of this current government pat themselves on the back with, the acclaimed achievements that they claim to have had within the last 8 months of their inauguration. And just yesterday, State Secretary Anthony Blinken of the United States was in Nigeria. And during the conversation with President Tinubu, he did applaud President Tinubu for the, policies and how his government has, in a very short period of time, achieved a lot of things. My point is, we keep hearing achievements, things we've done, and it seemed to be in discordance with what an average Nigerian has as an opinion. Do you see any achievements that the APC government has been able to put into place in the last 8 months?
I've not seen yet, because I've not even seen their direction yet. Because first of all, it's the results that will say that somebody is achieving something. For the fact that you are busy working doesn't mean that you're achieving something. Then Anthony Blinken might be here. Yes, they are here in our soil. They have to praise. They have to do whatever thing they want to say. But then it's not living with us here. We know what we see here. Whatever thing they are seeing, they may be perceiving it from the media, is what is projected to them that they begin to see. But number one is, where is the face of the APC for now? They're just stirring the water. Everywhere you just see this one, corruption, the other one, corruption, just stirring the water, but we're not seeing their direction yet. Or even in the policy, you can see the CBN governor coming out to tell us the value of Naira here, I'm going to do this. See, we are not in the stage of promises. We are in the stage of actions to see the results. Okay, they have achieved a lot. Let's believe they have achieved a lot. Has it actually brought down the price of fuel that is biting hard on every Nigerian? Has it brought down the price of food items? We can see a bag of rice is 60,000 naira now. How many people can afford it? I can say that 50,000 naira is much more than the salary of some homes. How do they survive it? Are you talking about the school fees? Are you talking about the rent? So when the expenses are higher than your income, what do you think? They say an angry man is what? A hungry man is an angry man. So when you have a lot of angry Nigerians out there, how do you think that the society can now be normal? So I can't see what they have achieved, but they have to come out and tell us what they have achieved. But we are the Nigerians who live here. We have to tell them that they still have a long way to go.
All right, talking about certain, areas that you just mentioned that you do not seem to see any significant change. Is it directly affecting the people's life when it comes to food cost? Is it directly affecting the people's life when it comes to security? So in your own view, there seem not to be any headway. But how can you profile solutions in terms of helping those in government to be able to translate such policies that they have in order to affect the life of the average man? What do you think you can do in profiling solutions?
Okay. Well, it's not what I can do. Many Nigerians have been there. They've been suggesting to them. For instance, in insecurity, the first person to rise up to tell them that they suggest state security was Fashola. Fashola told them then that there should be state security. In state security, the people can be in charge of their lives. They can defend their lives.
Defending their life in what sense?
I'm not saying carrying out arms, but at least these are the people. The people that will be guarding the community should be the people that also live within the community. They should be able to spot a foreign face when it's there, to be able to give the appropriate quarters the information that they deserve. Okay, state policing is one of the things I'm still suggesting for them, but they are not looking in that direction up to today. Now, two is that if you say once the cost of living is high, there is no how the people can be normal. Recently, I encountered a bike person. I was on a bike, and when the bike man was carrying it, we saw a group of young guys that were about fighting. The young boy, he was less than 20 years old, and after he just said, in this country, somebody where they normal not supposed to dey fight. A boy that is below 20 years, he say in this country, somebody where they normal is not supposed to be fighting, which means we already have a lot of problems on ground fighting you, let alone now devoting your time to fighting one another because the society is not normal. So I have told you, state policing to secure the life of the people. Now they should go into economic policies. For instance, the fuel price subsidy removal is still causing an economic stir everywhere. Can you notice that there is no monitoring to the meters this time around? Anybody can just set whatever price you like. And don't forget, you are dealing with, don't ever you expect the people to be economically good to others. We are born to be wicked, but policy, vibrant policies can checkmate man's excesses to another man. For instance, we can see some filling stations that are in affiliation to NNPC. Some of them, I think they say official price is 568, right? But you can see another one with NNPC name 580, 600. Are they functioning in that line? Who monitors who? And they still bear NNPC on it. Now you can see different other people. You can say that they have rights of setting. So by the time they unionize themselves, they can hike the price. I've visited a vulcanizer. A vulcanizer was about patching my tire. They are not charging 1,000 naira to just patch a tire. Then I begged the man that I wasn't having enough fish to collect 700 from me, not knowing that another person that was coming there was sponsored by their group, is one of the monitoring team. He came and he gave him tire and begged this man. He was kneeling down and begging, and the man collected 700. He used it to track him. He called his colleague and they came, they carried his machines and every other thing.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? Which means they use union to hike the price unnecessarily. The 700 would have been okay for the man, but they use union to hike the price. Now, what happens when you see these petroleum groups? They have come together, unionize themselves, and keep hiking the price. Nobody is checkmating. The whole thing will fall back on the citizens. There is no checkmate anywhere at all.
When you talk about, before you take on the discussion more further, when you talk about no one checkmating, also are you aware that market forces determine price when there is subsidy removal? So it determines on the price is determined on the individual who is buying what, not whether there is a union that checkmates the price. I don't know if you're aware of that,
Okay.
sir. So how do you now bring the issue of unionism when already market forces determine price in this case?
The market forces we are talking about here is not in the hand of the individuals somehow. Okay, for instance, I am comfortable to buy at 500, but I can't find any filling station that is selling at 500. What do? I'm compelled to buy at their own dictates. Sometimes when they go around telling their colleagues that maybe selling at, for instance, 500 is comfortable by him, but unionism will tell him, no, you don't sell this, you have to move it so that you can be in a group. You've been in Lagos, you find out that even Ugu sellers, they are union. The Okada riders, they are union. Everything, they are union. Using to uniform their prices. Okay? So the fact remains that governments must live up to their expectations. Many with 40 meters, what do you do to these things? By the time a normal transporter buys it at that high price, it falls back on the people that enters to pay. You find out that you are actually handicapped somehow. We can only use the word market forces or no market forces. There is a way of unifying all those things that the people will have no choice than to do it at that price. If you go to Abuja today, my elder brother is in Abuja today, the amount we use to change our tire here or to patch tire here is different from the amount over there. What happens? If you say it's market forces, are we saying that because people in Lagos can afford it or people in Ogun State can afford it, people in Abuja can't afford it? So they have union that what fuels those things that the people will be left with no choice than to patronize, to go by their own biddings.
So talking about the cost of living, what do you think government can do to be able to make such policies that they put be able to help the masses, not in any way choke them to an extent where they almost are going out of existence?
The fact remains that I was not their advisor when they went into it in the first place to say we are removing subsidy. We are removing subsidy. I'm not in support of subsidy, don't get me wrong. But before you remove something from a suckling mother, a suckling child, you are removing breast from the person, you must provide milk by the side. Okay, do you know that there is CNG that is out there? Conversion of cars into CNG, and it costs no less than 300,000 to convert a single car from petroleum to CNG. Why didn't government actually, if they have the people at their mind, why didn't they come in to subsidize this amount? Because most Nigerians can't afford 300,000. Why can't they set up plants, begin to convert these cars from that to CNG in order to bring down the price, forcefully bring down the price of fuel? They can do that. The refineries that are there, yes, we thank God they say they are kicking off, but I heard one of their bosses said that the resumption of refineries is not a guarantee that the price will fall. It's coming back to tell us that the price will come down. We trust so. But I have moved away from believing government, what the government is promising, to believing what I can see them do at the moment. So they can help Nigerians to convert their cars from the normal fuel to what CNG in order to bring down the demand or the pressure on the fuel. Even if the price of is going to be high, it can be for international reasons. But for the people, let them find a relief that the transportation can be better. Anything that touches the fuel in Nigeria today has touched every Nigerian, because those that are producing cannot produce anymore. Those that are moving cannot move anymore. You go somewhere to buy, you can't bring it. When you consider the cost of bringing it, to put everything there, the cost of living is still getting higher and higher, even in the face of unemployment.
All right, let's take a look at some of the President Tinubu's policies and how the government can translate some of these policies into making life easier for Nigerians. And of course, that is usually the fronting. That's usually what the government fronts when these policies come into play. You just mentioned the fuel subsidy removal. When that happened about 7 months ago, or 8 months ago, part of the conversation was that excesses that would be made from this fuel subsidy removal would be reinvested into other key sectors. We're talking education, infrastructure, agriculture, I think aviation, and some other critical sectors. That we haven't still seen that. In the education sector, we see the student loan bill, which is still undergoing a lot of things until it is finally and officially put into action, which we're expecting to happen within the first 3 months of 2024. And we saw the merger of the official and the parallel foreign exchange rates, the unification of the naira, and this is to curb round tripping and boost economic growth. Since that unification happened, the disparity between the naira and the dollar skyrocketed. Before that unification happened, the naira and the dollar, of course, weren't already in good terms, if you know what I mean by that. At that point, we were already buying the dollar at 450, 500 naira before it happened. And from then, it first went to 800 naira till it crossed the 1,000 naira margin, and it has continued to rise. None of these policies have been able to at this point where we're having this conversation, kind of do what it is supposed to, what is expected to. Fuel subsidy is being removed, even though there are word on the street that if government still pays subsidy, we cannot confirm that, so we choose to leave it alone. But then we see how the price of fuel continues to fluctuate. Today you buy a 600, tomorrow you're buying more or less. How do you think that the government could have better streamlined these policies and, you know, away from the knee-jerk approach, probably have a better blueprint to making it work for the people instead of against them?
Good. That is also what I'm saying. I am not the advisor of the government, because when you choose to take a path before, you didn't seek my advice. You can't be inside the water and you're asking me, how am I going to get out of the water? Whereas when you were going into the water, you never asked me whether you should go.
You mean consultation, right?
Consultation of whichever way. But what I'm trying to say here is that whosoever advised them in the first place how to enter the water should tell them how to get out of the water, or better still, reverse. There is nothing wrong in saying, okay, we have taken this path, but we can see it's not favorable to the people. But I found out that the problem of Nigeria is not the policies, but the monitoring of the policies. To see that those things that are meant to provide those things are actually doing what it should be doing. There is no monitoring anywhere. That's what is causing the problem. It's not that if you go there, you won't see some good policies. Yes, the dollar decision he took on the naira and the dollar unification is a fine one. It's supposed to be good, but it's not yielding out the results yet. I've not seen. Now we can look at you said fuel subsidy removal. They will plow it back into education and the rest of them. That was a promise, right? Now, did you see that student loan? They just brought this student loan just to use it to, there's a student. Did you see the conditions there? You should have somebody level this that will attest to it before you be able to get this one. You should be earning less than so in the family before you be able to get this. So even if you see it, sometimes I can tell you that I will be giving you this cup. Do you understand? And I will tell you, before you get this cup, you have to get an elephant that has 5 legs. Do you understand? But the cup is there. But you have to bring an elephant that has 5 legs. So these are the things I saw in the student loan. If you go out there, once they deny somebody education, the person is not different from animal. That's where the best investment should be going to, educating the minds of the people. But then we are not even seeing the examples even in the government, because before you place value on education, you have to be educated yourself before you know the importance of how many of them are educated there. You can see certificate forgeries here and there, and those are the people that are a kind of examples there, which means if I should follow the example, I have to forge my certificates as well. Do you understand? So you can't value education more than the education you have yourself. You can't give others what you don't have. Now, abroad there are many platforms whereby you can get loans even without government involvement. Once you get educated, then you can be working, you can pay back. They are all out there. They encourage people, even in some some certain fields, they sponsor them. Scholarships are there, churned out, that the people can use it to strengthen the sectors that you want to be strengthened. Do you remember in this country when a particular senator came out to sponsor a bill that they should stop a medical student from going abroad to seeking? I think you were in this country. Is it not an idea from the pit of hell? But one of the fundamental rights of every citizen anywhere in the world is right to quality what? Education. But you are not saying that your people should not have access. You are not paying their money to go abroad there to get the education. You have not been paying them here in Nigeria. They are selling whatever land, and some are selling anything or whatever. I want to just go and get education at our own cost, and you are telling the person cannot move. Thank God they lived up to their expectations by crashing that policy there. So my submission to them, my advice to them is that if the path they have taken on Naira and dollar unification is not favoring them, they can make a reversal today. Or better still, monitor that policy to see that within a time frame of so and so, Nigeria should be feeling the impact. If it keeps pushing Naira up like this, Nigerians will keep suffering. And in as much as Nigerians are suffering, everybody will become mad, and whatever they are doing will be meaningless to the people.
All right, so talking about the fact that, yes, there is nothing wrong in taking a reversal if the direction you are told is not leading you anywhere. Now that you're talking about committees who are saddled with responsibility to follow up with policies, to see to the very end that these policies, as intended, works for the common good of everyone. If these committees that are being set up are not looking into this, where is the power of the citizenry to be able to call our leaders to book? Because obviously, as they say, the power of the office of the citizens are more powerful than even those in the offices itself. So what do you think needs to be done, especially when those who are saddled with following up those policies, the committee set up to follow up those policies, are not doing the needful? What do you think the citizenry should do in this case?
I wish the citizens, they have power. The office of the citizen is much more than any other office. It's on paper as far as Nigeria is concerned. What have you been able to go out there to do successfully that the same people you put in power will not use the security agencies to curb you? Yesterday it was NSAS. How did it end? Did they not rise the same people that the people are paying their salaries to come up against the people and kill the same people? The day you rise up, you want to see the right for peaceful protest is that of the citizens, right? The moment you rise up there, you want to go out. They have weaponized poverty. One, they can just come and give 3 persons money from the same money treasury and use it to scatter the group or use it to cause chaos, and they will target that the people is no more a peaceful protest. Then they have right to carry arms against the people. Then the people can sit back. So the issue is this: if you have set up a committee, he who pays the piper calls the tune. The same people, that's why they say a minister is doing what he's not supposed to do. I don't actually believe that a minister can be wrong and the president will be right. I don't believe it. That a minister can be wrong and the president can be right, except he sacks that minister. Because if you have right to hire a minister, you have right to fire the person, hire and fire, right? Now, in as much as you allow the person to be there, which means it's carrying out your bidding. So that is what is happening. The people are handicapped for now because the poverty is there. They are even struggling for survival. They are saying, can I afford food to eat for the day? Let alone saying, okay, we are going out there to protest. And the protest is going to carry out 3 days or 4 days, and they're a peaceful protest. They don't even have time to go and live there because their bills are calling at home. The landlords are pursuing them from house. Their children have not eaten, their school fees are there. So they are thinking survivor instead of thinking the governance for now. So the office of citizen, higher than every other office in Nigeria, is existing on paper, but in reality, there is nothing they can do.
So are we just going to sit down and fold our arms because
We
already
just
we
have to.
have the reality staring at our face? We just have to survive. So we'll keep going into this situation like a former elite legend, Afro legend once said, we'll still be suffering and smiling.
Suffering
Is that a way to
suffering
go?
and smiling. I still suggest that the people should still do what they have to do. But I'm calling on media this time around to up their games, make sure they follow up some certain things to the later. Not they provoke an issue today, tomorrow you hear nothing about that issue. It dies down. The last time I was here, we were discussing about bombing of celebrants. The people that we are celebrating Eid Malud, and the Nigerian Air Force released bomb on them. That was what we had discussed here. How far about that issue today? Who stepped down? Who was sacked? Who was punished? We will bring to book. Where is that book? Who has been brought to that book? Who is asking questions? So they will always say Nigerians will shout today, don't worry, by next week it will calm down. That is what happened. I still suggest that we should still be advocating for good governance. We can still be pushing within our limits. The media can be helping us to make sure they provoke matters, and then we keep pushing on our own. But we still trust that we will get there.
All right, keep advocating for good governance. That's the submission of Mr. Bartholomew Chibuke this morning on iBrand Daybreak. Thank you so much for giving us your time. We really appreciate it. iBrand Daybreak, more conversations will be coming your way, especially as it concerns AFCON. It is still raging. Super Eagles with the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. You don't want to miss that. Do stay with us.